This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Lovely.
Everyone, and welcome to the Maastricht edition live on Facebook. Tonight we are joined by the lovely Val M Karren, our local author, and we'll have our usual fun and games this day in history, Matt Goes Dutch, and maybe some titty bitties. So stay tuned, everyone.
Yay! Hello, good evening and welcome to the Maastricht edition. Here we are again on a lovely Thursday. I would like to say pleasant evening. However, oh my goodness.
It's like 5 minutes. The blue sky comes out, the sun, and the wind goes, and it's all black.
Yeah, it's gloomy out there, people, and stormy weather. Mm-hmm.
And some. I have completely bald goats. It's. I went out earlier just to do some goatee stuff and found myself in Belgium. It was quite a long span. So.
Luckily, you made it back in time for the show.
just got in. I was literally, I'm not in Kansas anymore. And yes, it was quite a journey. Fortunately, I was wearing trousers. So.
That's lucky. Always a good thing. You never know. On a windy day, as a lady who wears a lot of dresses, I can tell you, wind is not the friend of the A-line skirt.
You not go out.
No.
There's a t-shirt. Wind is not the friend of the A-line skirt.
Typing as we speak. Yeah, doing that one right now.
So this evening, here we are. We've got, as Matt was saying, our special guest this evening is Val M Karren. He's an American author who's been living around here for 20 odd years. He's got loads of books to tell us about, and he's going to be chatting about his life in Europe and how that has influenced his writing. So he's going to be along later. Obviously, yes, we've got all our usual fun and games going on this evening. But actually, and I forgot to say this to the guys earlier, because there was something that I did want to talk about, actually, because it's occurred to me that in this last year, for a lot of people who normally would drive places, and they haven't been driving. Now, of course, Tracy and Matt, I know you don't drive here in the Netherlands, so it's hello.
I did get my driver's license here in the Netherlands, so I do have a Dutch driver's license. However, it has remained in my wallet as a piece of art, if you like, for the last number of years. So I do have one. It's very pretty. It's pink. But indeed, I haven't been behind the wheel since. I'm not sure about Matt. Matt, do you actually have a driver's license?
Yeah, I have a Dutch driver's license, but I had to switch it from my British one. And I only drove once on my own after I passed my test, so I would not trust myself behind the wheel. I think about 6 or 7 years ago now, so maybe you need to retrain a bit.
So that says to me that as and when either of you do actually venture out in a car, that there maybe should be some kind of public warning that you are actually on the roads.
Yes, I think we should take a full page centre spread in all of the local newspapers.
I just wanted to ask people out there because, some people have still been driving to work, those who are not able to work from home. But for most of us who have been staying at home for most of the week, we have not been getting in our cars as often. And for me, I have to say that one trip a week to the supermarket, it's like a special treat. Getting in the car, it's independence, and I put my tunes on the radio, and even though it's only a 10-minute drive, it is actually. And,
like Thelma and Louise.
Just me. Thelma and Louise. So that'd be Luelma. Thalusa. There you go. But I'm kind of tempted to just keep driving. You know, because I'm just like, because I'm in the car and I'm not, even if I did have something nasty, I'm not going to spread it to anybody. So I could just drive for an hour. But yeah, I just want to know what people are thinking, that if you're not driving in a car as per you would normally, then, you know, do you get as excited as I did?
Do you get excited as our Joe? Let us know.
Well, that's kind of a loaded question as well, isn't it? But, and actually, what tunes do you like to listen to when you are driving? I really like dance music. You know, I like to have sort of some boom, 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 drum and bass going on, or something, or some techno or whatever when I'm driving. I really do. So yeah, I'll just put it out there. You guys are just sitting there nodding because, of course, you're not driving. So
no, a happy passenger, but I make a very good co-pilot, I tell you. Mm-hmm.
What makes a good co-pilot, Tracy?
Able to read an old school map.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes a good co-pilot. Yes.
Yeah. In 1934, yes, but these days, of course, everybody's got GPS.
I know, but where were we? Sometime ages ago, we were somewhere where the GPS just didn't work. It had failed or died or whatever it was. We had to revert to an old school map. It's actually quite cool. I don't know. It was kind of nice. It felt more adventurous or something, and you're more involved in the journey.
I do have a girlfriend of mine who refuses to have a GPS in her car, and her husband drive under normal circumstances up until a year ago, where every year would be driving constantly across Europe, and they would always have the old school map. She refuses to have a GPS. She much prefers it, and I must confess there have been on occasions when you find yourself at particular roadworks and you want to find a diversion, and of course the GPS keeps saying to you, turn left here, turn right here, do a U-turn. And you're like, no, I want to go that, and you can't do anything with the GPS.
Yeah.
So yes, in those terms, it's good to have a map for sure. But hey, let's find out from folks out there. Are you map people? Are you GPS people? Do you like to have particular tunes on in the car? Do you like to sing along in the car? Oh God, yeah. I feel like getting in the car now.
I love a road trip. I really do enjoy a road trip. It's great, so, especially because I'm not driving. So I just have to sit there. But Dave loves to drive, so it actually is the perfect balance. But I love the idea of getting settled in and having the, chatty about, oh, we saw that car 10 minutes ago. Oh, there's that that's truck again. And oh, look at that. And then you stop for coffee and you get back on the road, and it's just nice. It's a lovely part of travel, I think, the road trip. Underrated, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, we did a lovely driving holiday through France about 4 or 5 years ago, and for 3 weeks, and there was a lot of wine and a lot of cheese and a lot of getting lost and discovering new places. It was wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Joe, was there a lot of "mais oui, mon petit douche"?
Oh, mon douche, mon ami, absolutely, my chauffeur. It was. There was a lot of that going on. They were very impressed with my French.
I must admit, joking apart, France is actually on our list of a place to go on a road trip. I think we've heard it from many, many people now that it's really a place to plan it out a little bit, pick your region, and apparently it's very, very beautiful, especially those little villages and stuff. So who knows when that might happen? 2022, perhaps.
Oh, let's hope so. And Germany too. Germany's another lovely place to be driving through.
Yeah, we did the romantic road once through Bavaria. With all the castles and the woods.
Beautiful.
Oh.
I love holidaying
in
Germany. Yeah, I love it as well. People often diss the German food, but I quite love
Comfort food is the best food, and the bakery's there.
Oh my God. Amazing.
I think it's great, and it's always such good value as well.
Yeah.
And they have this sort of hospitality thing in German culture. I think you always feel really welcome. I've yet, touch wood, to have a negative experience while holidaying in Germany.
There you go. The last time we had a weekend away in Germany, we ended up having schnitzels the size of a family car. I mean, they were absolutely massive. And it's not often that I take pictures of my food, but we had to take this with sort of like a picture of my hand next to it because it was just gigantic. Oh
my
my goodness.
goodness me. But the apple strudel that they have there, that's one of guys. How did we get to apple strudel? We started off with
we're not doing ourselves any favors here whatsoever. We're talking about holidays, we're talking about delicious food in other countries. Oh no. Right, I'm going. Matt, I'm getting in the car and I'm going.
Need something to look forward to.
Oh,
think ahead.
yeah.
We do.
Won't be long.
Now, before we move on, Tracy, have you noticed Matt's got a different background this week?
I have, and in fact, I wanted to remark on how beautiful these items are. Matt, tell us more.
Well, we've been wanting to do this for years, actually, and we finally painted this wall. And during lockdown, we put all these paintings up. Well, not paintings, prints and posters.
Stunning.
So nice. Pinterest is really helpful.
Yeah.
I love Pinterest. All these different ideas of how you place them and everything.
Yeah.
Mood boards and ideas. It's fabulous. Really
months. Sort it out. And it can grow. It can grow. It's really fun. Yeah.
And he's coordinated his shirt, I believe, with the paintings, actually. There's sort of like a greeny thing going on there with it works really well with the blue.
I like it. Well, it's St. Patrick's Day next week.
So why not
get in early with a spot of green? Why not?
It is the 17th, isn't it? It's going to be a green day. But we can talk about that a little bit later, I think. So I suspect it's probably time for us to have a chat about Matt's review.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe for Matt's review this week, Tracy, it was your choice. What? Maybe you could remind everybody what it was that Matt is reviewing this week.
Pleasure. I chose a live album for Matthew. And in fact, I think it's the first live album we've had for him. And it was from the fabulous Johnny Cash. And it was the very famous album, Live at Folsom Prison.
There you go. The man in black himself, who sadly is no longer with us, but is still very much beloved by millions all over the world. It is a stonking good album and critically acclaimed by lots of other people. Matt, what did you think?
I thought it was absolutely great. It was really...
Excellent. So you got a little bit of country in you, have you, Matt?
I really like country. You know that we were talking about this before, Joe, that program called Nashville. Love that program.
Yes, that was great.
That's all about country music.
Yes.
I don't know. It's got a nice, I don't know. There's a nice rhythm to it. Like in these Johnny Cash songs, it was all like. So I don't know. I just like that, and it's also quite, I don't know, similar to the sort of music I normally like. Like I don't know, Mumford and Sons or something, George Ezra. That's sort of like you can see where that came from, sort of country influences. No, I did enjoy it. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, wonderful. I'm quite surprised. I was actually worried this week. I was thinking about it and I thought, oh God, poor Matt. He's probably going, what is this music? So that's really cool. I love, because I'm a big Johnny Cash fan. And Walk the Line, the movie that was made recently, I also really liked. But cool. Matthew, though, what was the score? How many Matthews did you give it?
Yeah, I decided I would give it a 10.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, Tracy, that's 3 10s now.
I love that you remembered this. You're like, yeah, Tracy had 3 10s.
I'm not bitter and twisted.
No, not at all. But that's really, but it's great. It's lovely when you pick an album that you really like. Do you think you might listen to? Because he has a lot of stuff, Matthew. And in fact, one of the more recent ones, one of my absolute favorites, is a cover he actually did. I think it was, Joe will have to help me out. It was called Hurt. And he did a cover of this song, and it was by a band. What was it?
Oh, yes. What was it? Oh, it's really slow and moody, and it was just before he died.
Yeah, really, really good.
Oh, goodness. Yes, I can see him.
I'm going to have to Google it.
You're going to have to Google it, yes.
But in any case, Matt, if you liked that album, there's a lot of other albums he has out there, and also more up-to-date stuff as well, including this song Hurt, which was by bear with. Oh my goodness, what a time to get a spell check error. Hurt by Johnny Cash.
Oh,
Joe, I can't believe can't remember who covered it. Oh, this is annoying. 9-inch nails. Oh,
9-inch nails. There you go. There you go. Oh, for goodness sake.
Apparently, they did the song first, and they actually said they preferred his version of the song, which is really cool. But really nice, Matthew. 10 out of 10. Hurrah!
Where were you when you were listening to it, Matt?
I was cooking.
You were cooking. Okay, good stuff. But the thing is with country, it's I don't believe it's a love it or hate it. There's so many different genres within country as well. You know, you can have more bluesy country, you can have more jazzy country, you can have more. They've got the poppy stuff that, you know, like a lot of the like Taylor Swifts are doing, for example. Yeah. You know, and there's a lot of storytelling and a lot of history. You know, you can draw a line to all the way back to sort of like the bluegrass country that was started off up in the mountains, and where they played guitar with just like 2 strings, and everybody was just telling stories to music. It's a fascinating history country. And if you say you don't like country, well, you probably haven't listened to an awful lot of it then, I would say, because it just covers so many different genres within country that you're bound to find something you like. So would you listen to some more of him, Matt?
Yeah, sure, I probably would.
Yeah, excellent. Okay. Well, if you gave it 10 out of 10, I would think you would. So
yeah.
Okay.
There was another live album, Live at San Quentin. He went to a lot of different prisons. But you should check it out, Matthew. There's a wealth of material out there I think you might like to enjoy. But now what is it, Joe? You're going to give your recommendation for next week, right?
Well, yes. And I'm going to recommend pretty much a brand new album, actually, that came out last year. And this is a band who they've been around a long time, but due to the lead singer going off and doing a lot of charity work, shall we say, you haven't seen much of the band. He kind of comes back every now and then and does a tour and does a bit of writing with them or something, but you don't really hear of the band very much. But they brought out an album last year. Their heyday, you would say, was late 70s.
Oh.
And he was very famous in the 80s after watching... Yes! Bob Geldof.
Well done, Matthew.
And the band is Boomtown Rats.
Ooh.
And they brought out an album last year, which I basically just put on repeat. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I was not expecting it to be as good as it was. I had heard a particular track from it that they had been playing on the radio. I thought, actually, that's not half bad. I think I might get the album. And I do really like the album, and there's lots of different styles going on in there. I thought it was really fresh. There was considering I know their late 70s work pretty well, there wasn't really much reference to that at all. This is all new stuff, and there's a really good sound to it, and yeah, I liked it very, very much. So this is Citizens of Boomtown. And I'll send you a picture after the show of the album cover. But I'll be really interested to hear what you think of the Boomtown Rats 2020. And I would also recommend, maybe during the week as well, if you dig around and have a look at or listen to what they were doing in the late 70s as well, I think you might find it interesting to compare. Because there'll certainly be a couple of tracks that you will know. They're probably their most famous one is I Don't Like Mondays, of course, which was a number one.
Oh, Matthew.
I might know the song, but names of songs, and I have no idea.
Yeah, it's one of those. If you hear it, you'll know it.
Yeah, I think so. So anyway, so that's your album for next week. Everybody out there, let us know what do you think. We got the Johnny Cash album that's got 10 Matthews out of 10. Are you Johnny Cash fans? Are you country fans? And I've just given him the Boomtown Rats for next week. What are your thoughts? And of course, we're still interested to hear about your music choices when you're in the car.
Yes.
So, coming up in the next half of this evening, we've got Val M Karren, who's going to be joining us, local American author. He's going to be chatting about his books. But before that, I think it's probably time for us to maybe chill down a little bit, relax, get restful, get peaceful, put our feet up, have a nice cup of tea, because it is time for This Day in History. Tracy, have you actually been practicing during the week? You're getting a little operatic there.
Well, I was just trying something. Next week I'm going to do it in kind of, speed metal style.
Actually, maybe I've just thought maybe what we should be doing every week is doing it in the style of the album that Matt has just reviewed. So we have to do it like Johnny Cash.
I'm Johnny Cash, This Day in History.
Oh, it was such a bad idea. Okay, so today is Thursday, the 11th of March, and on this very day in 1744, the English auction house Sotheby's holds its first ever auction of books in London, 1744. Now, Matthew and Tracy, have you ever been to an auction?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay, Matt. What were you buying? Were you selling?
No, I used to really love those programs like Cash in the Attic and Flog It and stuff. So I went to our local auction house, which is a crappy, tiny little place that just sells some ordinary household items. There were no antiques. It wasn't very exciting, but I wanted to go, so I went.
And did you actually buy anything? No, because most of them are just crappy little items. There are an awful lot of auctions that go on, and I have actually been to an awful lot of them, and I've been to some of these ones that sell houses. In fact, is it Homes Under the Hammer that you see on telly? I recognise a couple of the guys on there from the agencies that are selling houses, because I've been to a few of their auctions actually, and it's quite exciting. You get caught up in it, especially the ones where there's a lot of money being thrown around all over the place. You can just but you got to get the right auction. But I think it's quite a nice trip out actually, even if you're not buying it.
I would love it just to go and have one of the paddles. And then hope someone puts a paddle up just in case. But it does, if you look at, Christie's and all these famous auction houses where they have these special things that come up for sale, I think it must be very interesting. But these days, they also have a lot of online videos, don't they? Which is something new.
Yes, and actually, it works very, very well if you do have something that's a little antique that somebody in the States is probably bidding on as well, because that can bump the price up and just kind of thing. On this day in 1869, the West first learns of the giant panda by a French missionary, Armand David. Tracy loves a panda.
I love a panda.
In 1918, on this very day, US Army mess cook Private Albert Gitchell of Fort Riley, Kansas, becomes the first documented case of Spanish flu. Of course, that went on to kill between 50 to 100 million, which is not a lot more than we have going on in this past year. But of course, they didn't have the vaccines rolled out as quickly. They didn't have social media. They didn't have the ability to swap information between countries as easily. So, of course, it went through like wildfire. In 1958, on the 11th of March, Charles Van Doren finally loses on US TV game show 21 after winning $129,000. However, later it was revealed to be fixed.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, it's so disappointing, isn't it? Because the people who have been watching that, they'll get all caught up in the excitement of it all, and then you find, oh no, somebody was cheating. Now, this is one for you, Tracy. On this day in 1959, the fourth Eurovision Song Contest was won by
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, no!
I've had too much Coca-Cola.
Eddie Scholten from the Netherlands, who was singing Een Beetje in Cannes.
I don't know this song, I'm afraid.
No.
Not to worry. Yeah, it's probably not one of the top 20, is it?
I don't think so. No,
But good for him.
In 1967, on this very day, Pink Floyd releases their first single, Arnold Lane. And sticking with music, a year later, Otis Redding is the first person in the US to posthumously receive a gold record for his single, Sitting on a Duck in the Bay.
A duck, even. Oh, one of my most favourites. Matthew. This is an album for Matthew. Possibly next week.
Now, we're also going to stick with the music theme here because in 1971 on this day, Jim Morrison leaves for Paris to reorient himself emotionally and creatively, and also to avoid the jail sentence given to him in Miami.
Oh, poor old Jim Morrison. He had quite a life, didn't he? Yeah. He died in Paris.
Jim Morrison. Sorry, Tracy?
I think didn't he die in Paris?
Yes, he never went back to it. Actually, he never went back. Jim Morrison, the lead singer of The Doors, in case Matt, you were wondering who that was.
Also an option for Matt.
Oh, yes. Hello, I love you. Won't you tell me your name?
Your name.
In 1988, the British pound note ceases to be legal tender and is replaced by £1 coin. And in 1990, on this day, Lithuania declares its independence. Hurrah! In 1990, Yolanda Chen hop, skips and jumps a world indoor record of 15.03 metres.
Wow.
My God. Right. In a hop, skip and a jump.
A hop, skip and a jump. I don't think it's something I've ever attempted, if I'm honest. I don't know about you guys.
No. I've tried the skipping part and hopscotch, but I think that's something else.
I'm more of a falling flat on my face kind of person. In 1996, on this very day, John Winston Howard becomes the 25th Prime Minister of Australia. And the year after that, the ashes of Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry are launched into space.
Oh.
That's kind of cool.
Very cool. Well, considering it was Gene Roddenberry, for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
it makes sort of sense, doesn't it?
It does make sense. In 2006, on the 11th of March, Michelle Bachelet is inaugurated as the first female president of Chile. And in 2013, the European Union bans the sale of cosmetics that has been tested on animals. Hurrah. And finally, on this day, last year, the smallest dinosaur ever discovered was found in a mine in Myanmar. Its skull preserved in a piece of amber smaller than a fingertip.
Wow.
Is it like, I'm just imagining like a mini T-Rex. It's like a little...
Yeah.
Squeaking.
It probably would be squeaky.
That wouldn't really work in Jurassic Park, would it?
It's coming, run!
It wouldn't have the same gravitas, somewhat. Not really. Birthdays. On this day in 1950, Bobby McFerrin, the American vocalist and conductor, famous for Don't Worry, Be Happy, was born on this very day. In 1952, Douglas Adams, the English author of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, was born. In 1967, the lovely John Barrowman, the Scottish stroke Canadian actor, singer, presenter and writer, usually known as Captain Jack Harkness from Doctor Who. He was born in Glasgow. The penny's dropped. Oh, him! Gotcha.
Him,
I think he's adorable. I absolutely love him. I would love to have him living next door. In 1978, Didier Drogba, the Ivorian, I've never said that word before, the Ivorian football player for Chelsea, who was born in Abidjan, Ivory Coast. There you go, was born on this very day. And a quick mention to our beloved Robert de Koning, our wine guru, who had his birthday yesterday.
Oh!
Happy birthday, Robert.
Cheers to you, Robert.
Happy belated birthday. And happy birthday to anybody who is celebrating a birthday today. Hope you're having a lovely day, whatever it is you're doing and however you are doing it. And that was this day in history.
Well done, darling.
There they go. There they go. And before we move on, I think somebody should ask me a question.
Ooh, me. Joe,
Mm-hmm.
what do you know this week that you didn't know last week?
Well, it's funny you should ask me that, Tracy. Apparently, the olive-tailed thrush farts at the ground to provoke worms to move away, and then he eats them.
Wow.
That's brilliant.
It's very clever. God. Nature's so more advanced than we are.
Yes, that's very advanced, isn't it? Farting at your food, making it move away, and then you pounce on it. Yeah, I mean, I just don't know. Say that again?
I didn't know the birds farted.
Oh.
There you go.
No, they're so light. If they actually did, so they take off a bit.
You would wonder. Little Tubbs farted the other day. It was the first time. Well, the first time when I was in proximity. I was like, what the Little Tubbs?
Really? In all that time that you've had Little Tubbs, that's the first time that Little Tubbs has farted in front of you?
We've only had him 10 years, but I mean, he sleeps in various places, so perhaps he does his little farts at different times of the day. But on this occasion, he was on my lap. I loved him even more.
Only had him 10 years, Matt. Only had him 10 years. Oh my goodness. Any men in my life, I've usually only known them 48 hours and they've let rip. I mean, probably that says more about me than anything, but yeah, okay. But there you go. The olive-tailed thrush farts, pounces, and eats.
That's another T-shirt.
It's
farts, pounces, and eats, I think.
There you go. It's a skill. It's definitely a skill. Well, I think it's probably time we had some news, Tracy.
Okay, I'll do the farts, pounces, and eats later. I'll do the news first, shall I?
She's gonna. You do realise what you just said, don't you?
I do. Let's move on. Maybe no one
does. Tracy Taylor with the news.
Thank you, Joe, and good evening, everyone. It's March 11th, and you're watching the Maastricht edition on Facebook Live. First, a look at your weekend weather, and it will remain unsettled for the coming days. There will be periods of dry and sunny spells, but we will also see more heavy wind and rain, with the possibility of lightning and even hailstone. Moving to your news bulletin for tonight. In a parliamentary debate yesterday, Prime Minister Mark Rutte said that the coronavirus lockdown cannot be relaxed any further for the time being, and that it would not be the responsible thing to do right now. And in a report out today, and if the Dutch government's strategy goes to plan, it is believed that the Dutch economy will grow by 2.1% this year and be back to pre-pandemic levels by the end of 2021. However, much still depends on the rate of vaccination and the lockdown relaxation measures. Denmark and Norway have temporarily halted the use of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine as a precaution following Danish reports of some people having blood clots after vaccination and one death. The EU Medicines Agency has emphasized that there is no indication the vaccine has caused the blood clots. However, several other European countries have now also stopped using 2 batches of the drug. A small number of coronavirus test and vaccination locations, mostly on coastal areas, were closed in the country today due to the stormy weather. Everyone who had an appointment at these locations will be contacted by the GGD to reschedule. And in other news, France is set to ease restrictions on travel to and from 7 countries outside the EU, including the UK. The Foreign Ministry has said that a compelling reason is no longer needed for travel to Australia, Israel, Japan, Singapore, South Korea, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom. Safety measures will remain in place for travellers, however, and all passengers arriving in France will still need to provide a negative COVID-19 test result issued less than 72 hours before they travel. Moving to local news, and the Maastricht Climate Coalition will be part of a so-called climate alarm that will sound this Sunday, March 14th at 3 p.m. People are asked to make some noise from home or on the street to highlight the need to act for the climate and for the government to take appropriate measures. Various church bells will also sound at around 3 p.m. on Sunday. And finally tonight, the Netherlands has been ranked in the top 10 of the world's healthiest countries to live in, following a recent report conducted by the World Health Organization and the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Japan came in first place, followed by South Korea and Finland. The Netherlands came in 8th place overall out of 42 countries. And that's it for tonight. For more local news, you can follow RTV News in English on Facebook and Instagram. If you are a local business, be sure to check out the Support Your Local Business South Limerick Facebook page, a joint initiative between #Maastricht and the Maastricht Edition. And if you want to discover events, concerts and cultural activities going on in Maastricht and the surrounding areas, head on over to the website of our partner, maastrichter.com, to check out their awesome calendar of events. You can also follow them on social media. And don't forget that you can always find us on the Maastricht Edition Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, on Redbubble, and on Instagram. For all the details, check out the maastrichtedition.nl.
Lovely stuff, Tracy.
Thank you, darling.
And so, the Netherlands, very healthy.
Number 8. Not bad at all, really.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's frickin'
It's a frickin' Dallin.
Do you think? I mean, it's going to be the cycling, surely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's the right act.
Indeed, the outdoorsy side of things, the quality of living in general, access to clean water, all this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But not a surprise that Japan was number 1, I guess. And South Korea, though, was a little bit. But then the Nordics, again, Finland, Sweden, Iceland, Denmark. Oh, Switzerland was also in the top 10. So amongst good company, but those Nordic countries do tend to come on the top list of a lot of these sorts of surveys, don't they? So, but not bad. 8 out of 42. Nothing to be ashamed of, right?
No, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Well, somebody who very much likes living in the Netherlands is our guest, who is joining. Val Karren's in the house. Good evening, Val.
Good evening to you all.
Lovely to have you on the show. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Pleasure. Thanks for the invitation.
We've got you on here to talk about your many books as a local American author who is living here in Maastricht and has been for many, many years. But before we get to the books, let's find out how you got here in the first place, because I believe you've been living here for, was it 21 years, I think you said?
Yeah, close to 21, 22 years, yeah.
So Maastricht 21 years ago was a very different place, methinks.
It was a very different place. Indeed it was. Yeah.
So how did you end up living here in the first place?
Well, I took a master's course at the School of Management here by the hospital. Mm-hmm. I was in the class of 99 doing an MBA in international business. And we loved Maastricht so much that we wanted to stay afterwards. And so we skipped out on our visa and I'm kidding. No. After school, I went back to the States, and the group that hired me sent me right back 9 months later.
Wow.
We were at Schiphol up at Amsterdam for 8 years. When the chance came to come back to Maastricht, we took it as quickly as we could, as the culture's much different in the north than it is down south. And,
very true.
We enjoyed Maastricht much more than living in the north, for the weather, for the food. So.
And when you say we, you're talking about yourself and your lovely wife, and I believe you've got a couple of kids.
Yeah. When we moved here, we had one little boy who was 6 months old. Now we have 4, and he just turned 12 this week. So.
Whoa.
Well, belated happy birthday to him as well. So nice. Yeah. Val, may I ask, what part of the States are you from originally?
Born and raised in Seattle, Washington, on the West Coast.
Okay. Okay.
It's very wet there, I believe.
It is, yes. And there's a lot of rock bands from Seattle too.
Yes.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, indeed.
Nirvana, Matthew. This could also be one for your music review in the coming weeks.
Taking note.
You don't miss it at all, Val, after 21 years? Do you go back often?
You always miss home, of course, but we go back about every other year, maybe third year. Sometimes I go alone when I'm on business, but of course there are things you miss from home. But when you live in the 8th healthiest country in the world.
I know. Hurrah!
Do you feel healthy, Val?
I feel healthy. Yes, ma'am, I do.
Well, that's good. And tell us, what is the difference between Maastricht or the Netherlands 20 years ago to now?
Well, Maastricht was more just a provincial city, but it's so much more international now. We've watched the university grow up quickly, certainly in the last 10 years. Before speaking English in the restaurants and in the shops, okay, yeah, everybody here can speak English, but you didn't. But now you hear a lot of the students that are doing a lot of the retail jobs and the waiting, they don't speak Dutch because they're from Germany or from France or the UK for that matter, or other places further. And so there's a lot more English just spoken as a default language instead of Dutch. So
it's very true. I noticed that myself as well. In fact, a year ago when you were able to go shopping in the center, you go into one of the retail stores or the clothing stores and the person speaks immediately English to you and you think, is that because they know I'm not from around here? But then you realize
they're not from around here.
It's everybody. So but indeed Maastricht has certainly put itself on the global map almost in a way, and it's really become quite the hub. It's kind of the place to be right now, I think.
Oh, we are so on trend, people. We really are.
Yes, we are.
Now, of course, it's not just here that you've travelled around. You've extensively travelled around a lot of Europe, and this has influenced your writing. So how did the writing start? Is it because of the travelling you decided to put pen to paper, or was it I needed to write, this is a subject I know about?
No. In fact, it kind of goes well with the expat story. In fact, after we moved back to the Netherlands, I started to write down my crazy misadventures that I'd had over my student years, which were extensive. And I wrote them down for my mother and my grandmother. And I gave them to my mother and my grandmother for Christmas that next year. And that turned into a multi-volume, wire-bound, self-made copies and sent home. And I realized, hey, I really enjoy the writing. It kept going and it kept going. And then there came that moment, the dark tea time of the soul, which I just gotta write the real thing now. And so I went ahead and put my fingers to the keyboard instead of pen to paper, and came out with my debut novel, which is pictured here behind me.
Nice.
Which, to my great surprise and joy, won 2 awards in the indie circuits in the United States.
Fantastic.
And so.
What type of genre do you like to write, Val? I think you focus a little bit on historical type novels.
I do. I have to say, though, my goal as a writer is to really bring culture alive for people who haven't been to that place. So even though I have a line of books that are historical thrillers, so it's historical fiction wrapped around an exciting story, I also like to do pure fiction. Cultural fiction is what I call it, where the culture of a country is really pulled out in a fun story. Sometimes it's exciting, sometimes it's children being portrayed. And I really want to bring people to those countries when they're reading the book, so they feel like they've been there, even if they haven't. And if you've been there, you go, oh, I recognize that. Yeah.
I was in that place.
Readers really make connection. Yeah, they make connection with the book when they say
wow. Now, Val, you say you've already written a few books. Are you currently working on a project right now, or is that top secret?
No. I'm finishing up a series that's grown out of the first novel that did well. And so I'm finishing now the third book there, and that'll come out, knock on wood, in October.
Ooh, exciting! Maybe we need to secure another return visit for Val on the show around then.
Before the prices go up, yes, quick.
Oh yeah, we're expecting signed copies, Val. I'm not going to joke, okay?
No problem.
Val, how long does it take how long does it take to write a book? I mean, I'm sure that's different for every writer, but for you personally, how does the writing process work?
Well, you usually have 2 or 3 stories cooking in your head at the same time. And so on the times, you can write for about, at least I can write for about 4 hours a day before I burn out. So then I'll spend the evening watching videos, reading, researching. But for me, a novel usually takes 2 years from start to finish. So from the first words to the proof books in your hand.
The end.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And Val, I mean, is it tough? I mean, you've got a wife, you've got 2 kids, you know, you can balance everything with your.
No.
No.
No, it's for me, writing really is, if I didn't have it, then I couldn't balance. It takes you away. I don't want to call it escapism. That sounds a little too gothic. But it gives a chance to disconnect from the stresses of the day, to sit down, to write a fun, imaginative story. One of the stories I wrote about this time last year was set in Lisbon, Portugal. So I spent a lot of time with my earphones in, listening to their traditional music, getting the feel of it, how they love their city, and understanding the culture through music a bit more. So it gives you, say, I'm writing. Everybody, I'm writing for 2 hours, headphones in, and you're gone. And I'm in Lisbon for 2 hours.
I'm sorry, when you talk about traditional music from Portugal, I lived there for very many years, and Fado.
Yes.
My goodness.
Yes.
It's an acquired taste.
It is, but Lisbon, I've been fortunate enough to visit this place 3 times. It's one of my most favorite cities.
It is a lovely place.
Beautiful.
It is a lovely place. Actually, going back to what we were talking about earlier, Matt, and country music, a lot of the time in country music, the lyrics are, as we were saying, about stories, and people are talking about their lives. Fado is very much like that, but it's even more downbeat than some country songs, because it's quite often a middle-aged woman wailing about the fact that, my husband's run off with the next door neighbour, my cat got run over this morning, and the potatoes haven't grown in the fields. Life is awful, and it's very much. But I say it's an acquired taste.
But it's sung so beautifully.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yes. But
I thought I was in Pink Street.
Well, I have to say you're very dedicated to your research there, Val.
I am, in fact, yeah.
Do you have a special place for writing? I mean, it's fascinating talking to authors and writers, isn't it? Because they all say there's a book in all of us. But I mean, I've tried writing books several times. I've probably got about 30 first chapters of books that are probably I should publish them as short stories, I think. But it is, environment is very important, I think, Val. Do you have a special place to sit?
I do. It's right there.
Oh,
That's it, right there. That's where the magic happens.
Okay, it's not exactly Roald Dahl's little shed in his back garden.
I've tried to write in an office. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
I've got to have the sphere around. I've got to have what's familiar to me. It's got to have life. I got to be in the middle of the family running up and down the stairs. Otherwise, I get lost in too much thought.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's funny because many writers, indeed, some would have a shed, or some would have the desk, and some writers have to lie down in order to write. Some need to stand, some need to walk, some need to speak. There's so many options. But how nice that we get a little insight into Val's magic area there, so to speak. No, that came out a bit wrong. Sorry.
No. She didn't just say that.
Shit, this is live. Oh, well.
Okay.
You know what I mean.
Your magic area aside, we look forward to the next book coming out. If anybody does want to get hold of any of your books at all, how do they go about that, Val?
Well, coincidentally, they are all available at the English bookstore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The proprietor there, Shakib, has signed copies from me, so you can buy signed copies.
Lovely.
And if the request is strong enough, I may even dedicate them. So we can work on that. But Shakib has the physical books. Amazon has the ebooks. So they're available. They're available there.
Excellent stuff.
Yep.
And I believe you have a website that people can access as well.
Yeah. That's called flybynightpress.com.
Excellent.
As it sounds. And
Okay.
you can see and peruse the books there and see what they're about, see the covers, and there are links to purchase and a plug for the English bookstore. So
Superb.
Yeah,
well,
great.
we should make sure that all those details are put on all our socials after the show. Now, before you go, of course, we do also have a little announcement, because Val has kindly come on the show to talk about his books, but he's also going to be joining the Maastricht edition. So, welcome to the group.
thank you.
Oh, bless you. It's too late to chicken out now, Val, okay?
Yes, he brings with him his special area, and he will be in his special area, a magic area, sorry, will be writing blogs for us that will be found on our website. And every month he's going to be giving us some insight to the life in Maastricht, some history, some culture. Maybe you can tell our viewers the ideas that you've got coming up for the rest of the year.
Sure. Okay. In April, a church crawl. Evan knows we can't do pub crawls anymore right now. So with
Amen to that.
Easter coming up, Maastricht has a wonderful Easter service in several different cathedrals. So hopefully I can sneak in there with a mask on and take some notes. A cycling guide to the castles and the manor houses here, from between here and Fals and back. Fly, for those who are around here. What is fly? How do you actually say it in the Limburg dialect? Where to get the best ones? What are the best orchards to grow the best apricots and cherries, all that kind of stuff. So really local stuff for those that are living here that want to really taste the great Maastricht culture. And we've got 20 some odd years of living here to share. So we're happy.
Excellent stuff. Well, we are so pleased to have you on board, Val, and we're really looking forward to reading your blogs, as everybody will be. So thank you very, very much for that. As I said, we shall get all your contact details all over our socials after the show, so people can download or buy your books. And we shall get those announcements out as to when the first blog from Val will be on our website. So lovely to have you on the show, Val.
Thank you.
And we look forward to all your magic special area contributions. Oh, God, this is going to run. This has got legs. This is just going to keep going, isn't it? I can see it. But we're looking forward to what you produce in your magic area. There you go. I've said it. Thanks ever so much, Val.
Thank you.
And
Good
we'll
night
see
to
you
you all.
soon. Take care
See
now.
you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, how cool. Wow.
Oh, dear. Yeah, there's a T-shirt about his magic area, isn't there?
Well, I mean, we've got so many T-shirts at this point, really. We need to start printing, people. That's all we need to do.
Need to start printing, because let's remind people, we do have a shop on Redbubble where you can buy lots of our merchandise, of course, and the merchandise will be about the Maastricht edition and how much you love it. But our silly little sayings and quotes that come out during our broadcasts, we've made a note of them all, and we are going to get them on T-shirts, and you will be able to buy them. So,
in fact, if there is any local entrepreneur or T-shirt printing company in the area who's watching this evening, reach out to us.
Yes, that would be nice. Yeah,
that would be quite cool.
Yeah, that would be really cool for sure. Okay, well, we're not that far off till the end of the show, actually, but of course we do have time for match going Dutch. I don't think so. Matt going Dutch.
Yes.
What have you got for us, Matthew?
Well, I told you last week that it's election month, and next week is the election, starting on the 15th till the 17th.
Dave received his STEM pass and the big giant sheet.
A tablecloth.
The letterbox. Yeah. Oh my God! I could make a dress from it. Really, I could.
Well, today I thought I would go through some of those parties, because there are a lot of them. And if you're unfamiliar with the process, it can be a bit confusing because there's just so many different, there's actually 37 different parties.
Oh,
so I'm going to go through each and every one now and tell you every policy what they're doing.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not.
Please, no.
It's an extended version of the show.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to go through a few of the main ones, and then you'll know when people talk about the different parties and you see the posters around with the faces of people pointing at you, you'll know maybe a bit about them and what they stand for.
Pay attention, everybody.
Yes. So we
Ready to
have
go.
50 plus, 50 plus, which obviously is the party that represents people who are pensioners, retired people. So they
Joe, apparently. They represent Joe.
yeah. They want to reduce retirement age to 65, and lots of their policies revolve around pensioners' issues. And then you have the CDA, the Christian Democratic Party, which currently has 13 seats in Parliament, so it's quite a major party, it's one of the bigger ones. And it is a combination of 3 of the Christian parties, 3 of the less sort of conservative ones. But they see the Bible as a source of inspiration, and the party is very socially conservative. So they're considered to sit on the centre ground politically. And then you have the Christian Uni, which is the least conservative of the Christian parties, very progressive social economic policies. So they also base their policies on biblical principles, and most of their votes come from the Bible Belt in the Netherlands, which runs through the middle of the country. So they oppose euthanasia, abortion, and are unclear where they stand on LGBT rights, so I will not go into that any further.
Okay.
And then we have the D66. They have 19 seats in Parliament at the moment, so they're again one of the major parties, one of the bigger parties. And they're very progressive, socially liberal, and they want to create a more equal society, so more equal opportunities in education, in the workplace, and housing opportunities. So building more houses, making them more social housing, that sort of thing. And they also have very strong environmental policies. One of their policies I really like, actually, is they want to encourage companies to give permanent contracts, which is a big problem if you're looking for a job at the moment. It's quite difficult to find a permanent contract. And they're also looking to offer tax breaks and fixed net sums for those who are looking for work. So they're more supportive in creating an equal sort of working. And then we have DENK, which is a party founded by 2 Dutch-Turkish MPs in 2015, but it's accused of being a bit pro-Turkey. And they are against compulsory vaccination for corona, and they're working on policies for Muslim hate, against Muslim hate, children in poverty, and cheaper public transport, so a bit of a mixed bag there. And then we have the Forum for Democracy, which is a far-right party, also in the news a lot at the moment, because there was a lot of scandal with this party, and sort of collapsed, and the main party leader, Thierry Baudet, is an interesting character, who's sort of spouting corona conspiracy theories, and the party's seen as quite racist and anti-Semitic, and that was what the scandal was about, and why there was recently a lot of people leaving the party. But they are projected to win about 4 seats in Parliament in the next election, so the coming election. Then we have GroenLinks, which is the Green Left Party, which is another major opposition party. It has 14 seats in Parliament, and they focus on sort of sustainability and social justice issues. So they're more inclusive, fight for climate change, better health, better pay for health workers, that's what I'm trying to say, affordable housing, social equality, and raising the minimum wage, yes. Tax reductions for lower and middle income households, yeah, good. And strikingly, they want to offer an official apology for the Netherlands' role in the slave trade.
Wow.
Yes, so they're quite interesting.
Okay.
Then we have the PvdA, which is the Dutch Labour Party, another major party which sadly lost a lot of seats in the last election, currently 9 seats. So they're sort of finding their way at the moment. Policies revolve around improving working conditions, increasing minimum wage, equality in the workplace, unemployment benefits, and they want to improve healthcare by reducing the cost of insurance, which would be nice, I think. And higher taxes for rich and multinationals. Yes, good idea. And then we have the Partij voor de Dieren, which is the first party in the world fights for animal rights. So that's
Yes.
the party for the animals. So
They would get my vote if I were allowed to vote.
So lots of their policies revolve around animal rights, sustainability, improving agriculture, renewable energy, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
Then we have the PVV, which is another sort of far-right party, which has 20 seats in Parliament. So it's a major party. It's a lot of political party in Parliament. It's led by Geert Wilders, of course, the world-famous far-right politician, the peroxide blonde hair.
With the hair. It's all about the hair.
Yeah. So that the party is against the perceived Islamatization of the Netherlands and has the slogan, "Make the Netherlands ours again." So they want to close all mosques, ban the Quran in public buildings, and shut the borders to refugees. Okay, and then we have the SGP, which is the most conservative of the Christian parties, and believe the country should be governed entirely on the basis of the ordinances of God as revealed in the Holy Scriptures, and they do not feel that women should play an active role in politics. And I did this research on a Sunday, and the research I was doing said that the website is closed on a Sunday. That is how seriously they take this. And I was like, no, it can't. So I went on the website. It was true. The website was closed because it was Sunday.
Wow.
So that's an interesting thing they do. And then we have the SP, which is the Socialist Party. Currently has 14 seats in Parliament. They are anti-EU, anti-globalization, and pro-workers' rights. And finally, we have the VVD, which is Mark Rutte's party, the largest party in Parliament with 32 seats, and they are expected to maintain their position and remain the largest party in the coming election. So they support the free market, have very liberal social policies, and they don't seem to have had much damage from the coronavirus policies they've been putting into practice, or the recent Toeslag affair, which caused the fall of the current government. So they're still going to do very well, and it seems quite likely that Mark Rutte will remain the Prime Minister and form the next coalition government. So we will see what happens next week. But there was a quick overview of some of the main things, and you didn't even cover half of them. So.
No, there is so many.
So I find it such a fascinating. I mean, I'm not hugely political. I don't know everything about this and that, but it's a very interesting topic. I recall many years ago when we had a debate live in the studio with all of the local parties, and that was quite interesting. And if any local representatives are listening and watching this evening and you want to come on air and chat, let us know.
Yeah, that'd be great. And of course, there is, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but we'll find out what it is. There is a website you can go onto. If you're still not sure who to vote for and which way your politics leans, because there are so many parties to choose from, you can actually put in, by answering a questionnaire, what your views are, and it will give you a recommendation as to what political party you should be voting for. So we'll
advisor or something.
We'll find out the name of it, because I can't remember off the top of my head what it is, and we'll get that posted out to you. So that should hopefully it will help. It helped me, that's for sure, when I was voting before in the local elections, because I didn't have a clue. But yeah, thank you very much, Matt. That has definitely helped an awful lot. Tracy, do you have any titty bitties for us at all?
Well, at the risk of having insubordination from our fabulous tech dude, yes, I do have titty bitties.
Oh, fantastic.
I would like to announce that as of now, and we actually kicked this off last week, the Maastricht edition is doing something called the Friday Follow, #FridayFollow. So every Friday we're going to be just kind of giving a heads up or a kind of a spotlight on a local company or local business. Last week we covered the fabulous folks at Meet Maastricht. And if you haven't heard of them, well, shame on you really, because they're just fabulous. Lucy and team, they're doing a lot of tours around the city. Even now you can book private tours, so you can go. It's all very COVID awareness, it's all taken into account. And we have another local business that we're going to feature tomorrow in our social media posts. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, that's one thing. Another thing I wanted to remind folks who are from England or from Ireland, Wales or Scotland, this Sunday, the 14th of March, is Mother's Day.
Oh.
So don't forget
Oh.
Just if you have forgotten, you might just have time to get a bouquet sent over. But it's very strange because Mother's Day is different in the Netherlands, but for England and Ireland, it's a reminder about that.
Yes.
And indeed, there are some more movements happening, more businesses trying to open up and try to kind of get back into the swing of things. And in the coming weeks, we're going to try to kind of highlight places where you can go and stuff like that, local businesses that are reopening even during Corona times. And we're hoping maybe in the coming weeks, based on the press conference that happened earlier this week, maybe in April, things might open up a little bit. There's a lot of movement and chat here in Maastricht, particularly about the local businesses in the Horeca, in the restaurant business, wanting to open the terraces, wanting to get back on board. There's small rumours about something maybe happening in April that maybe we can have a little bit more freedom and get out and about. So stay tuned for that, and let's hope that there's some good news on the way.
I just want to do a quick shout out to Alliance Française. They've got an online group coming up on the 16th of March, because normally these guys, they hang out. There you go. They usually hang out in a cafe somewhere where everybody who wants to chat in French can do. Mon Dieu.
Oui, Joe. This is something for you, Joe.
Mon petit pois, avez-vous un kilo de pomme? And obviously they can't do that at the moment, but they've got an online version that's happening. So trip over to maastrichter.com. There's details on there and also on their Facebook page giving you times, dates, the whole caboodle. So check that out. We've come to the end of the show. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. It was lovely to have Val come and have a chat with us, not just about his books, but his upcoming blog on our website. We shall be back next week. Don't forget, all of you who do have to send something for Mother's Day, make sure you do it. Preferably get it organised tomorrow, because it's all happening on Sunday. And have a lovely week. Take care when you are cycling in this weather at the moment. It's really, really tricky. As our technical director Firdevs found out today, he nearly got blown into France. So be very, very careful. And we shall see you here next Thursday. Have a lovely weekend, have a lovely week, and we'll see you then. Thanks ever so much.
Bye.
Bye.
And good luck to Ireland against Scotland on Sunday in the rugby. It's St. Patrick's Day, so wear green on Thursday, people, for our show.